In the grand story of India's struggle for independence, many leaders walked different paths. Some chose non-violence, others believed in quiet negotiation, but one leader stood apart with his electrifying presence and bold ideas. His name was Subhash Chandra Bose, a man who became a legend. He was not just a leader, he was a force of nature. His charisma was magnetic, pulling people towards his vision of a free India. He believed that freedom was not something to be begged for, it had to be won. His powerful voice echoed in the hearts of millions, telling them to stand tall and fight for their rights with courage. Netaji, as he was lovingly called, had a simple yet powerful belief. He felt that freedom was a prize that demanded the ultimate sacrifice. He was convinced that polite protests and petitions alone would not break the chains of British rule. Freedom, in his eyes, required blood, sweat, and unwavering determination. It was a battle to be fought, not a gift to be received. He famously said, "Give me blood, and I shall give you freedom." This was not just a slogan, it was his promise. It was a call to arms for every Indian who dreamed of a nation where they could hold their heads high, free from foreign domination and control. This conviction set him on a different course from many of his contemporaries. While he respected Mahatma Gandhi, he disagreed with the idea that non-violence was the only way. Subhash Chandra Bose looked at history and saw that no great empire had ever given up its power without a fight. He wanted to build an army, seek help from other nations, and challenge the British Empire with military strength. His approach was direct and fearless. He was ready to risk everything for his motherland. This unwavering resolve made him a symbol of revolutionary spirit, a firebrand patriot whose only goal was the complete independence of India. His leadership was not about holding a high position. It was about inspiring action and instilling a sense of pride and self-respect among his people. He traveled across the country, his speeches igniting a fire in the hearts of the youth. He told them that they were the future of the nation, and that the responsibility of freeing India rested on their shoulders. He wanted them to be strong, disciplined, and ready for any sacrifice. His bold leadership was a beacon of hope for those who felt that the freedom struggle needed a more assertive and dynamic push to achieve its final glorious goal. Subhash Chandra Bose was born on January 23, 1897, in Cuttack, which was then part of the Bengal Presidency. He came from a large and well-to-do family. His father, Janakinath Bose, was a successful and respected lawyer. His mother, Prabhavati Devi, was a strong and pious woman. Subhash was the ninth of 14 children, and he grew up in a household that valued education, discipline, and Indian culture. From a very young age, he showed signs of a sharp intellect and a rebellious spirit. He was a brilliant student, but he was also deeply sensitive to the world around him, especially the injustices he saw under British rule. His early education began at a Protestant European school, where he saw firsthand the discrimination between British and Indian students. This experience planted the first seeds of defiance in his young mind. He later moved to the Ravenshaw Collegiate School in Cuttack. It was during these years that his spiritual and intellectual awakening truly began. He was an avid reader, devouring books on history, philosophy, and religion. He was deeply moved by the teachings of two great spiritual leaders of Bengal, Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Their message of self-reliance, service to humanity, and spiritual strength resonated deeply with him. Swami Vivekananda's words, in particular, became his guiding light. Vivekananda had called upon the youth of India to awaken their inner strength and dedicate their lives to the service of the motherland. He taught that true religion was not about rituals, but about serving the poor and the downtrodden. For Subhash, this was a powerful call to action. He began to see his life's purpose not in personal success, but in the larger struggle for his country's dignity and freedom. He started practicing meditation and tried to live a life of spiritual discipline, preparing himself for a greater cause that was slowly taking shape in his mind. This inner transformation found its first outward expression during his college days. After finishing school, He joined the prestigious Presidency College in Calcutta. Here, his sense of justice was put to the test. An English professor named E.F. Oaten was known for his arrogant behavior and racist remarks towards Indian students. One day, Professor Oaten manhandled some students. In response, Subhash, as the class representative, led a protest. Though he was not directly involved in the physical altercation that followed, he refused to name the students who were. As a result, he was expelled from the college. This incident, though a setback for his education, strengthened his resolve to never bow down to injustice. After the incident at Presidency College, Subhash Chandra Bose's academic career seemed uncertain. However, with the help of the respected scholar Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, he was able to gain admission to the Scottish Church College in Calcutta. He graduated with a degree in philosophy. His family, particularly his father, wanted him to have a secure and prestigious career. They urged him to go to England and appear for the Indian Civil Service examination. At that time, the ICS was the most elite and powerful job an Indian could hope for. It meant a life of comfort, authority, and social standing. Bowing to his family's wishes, Subhash sailed for England in 1919. Once in England, he dedicated himself to his studies with incredible focus. The ICS examination was notoriously difficult, designed to be cleared by the brightest minds from Britain. Yet, Subhash Chandra Bose achieved a remarkable feat. In 1920, he not only passed the examination, but secured the 4th rank. It was a stunning achievement that brought great pride to his family. A brilliant career as a high-ranking official in the British Indian government lay before him. He could have been a district magistrate or a secretary, wielding immense power and enjoying a life of luxury. But his heart and mind were somewhere else entirely. While in England, the news from India was deeply disturbing. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre had happened, and the non-cooperation movement led by Mahatma Gandhi was gaining momentum. Subhash felt a growing conflict within himself. How could he serve the very government that was oppressing his own people? The thought of becoming a cog in the machinery of the British Empire became unbearable. He wrote long letters to his family and friends, expressing his turmoil. He felt that he had to choose between personal ambition and his duty to his motherland. For him, the choice was becoming clearer with each passing day. Ultimately, his conscience won. In April 1921, in a move that shocked everyone, Subhash Chandra Bose wrote a letter of resignation from the Indian Civil Service. He gave up the promise of a comfortable life for a path of uncertainty, struggle, and sacrifice. He wrote that he could not serve two masters, the British government and his country. He had chosen his country. This brave and selfless decision marked his official entry into the world of politics and the freedom struggle. He returned to India not as a British officer, but as a humble servant of the nation, ready to dedicate his life to the cause of independence. Upon his return to India in July 1921, Subhash Chandra Bose immediately sought a meeting with the tallest leader of the freedom struggle, Mahatma Gandhi. He wanted to understand Gandhi's strategy and offer his services to the nation. While he was deeply impressed by Gandhi's leadership and his ability to mobilize the masses, their views on the path to freedom differed. Gandhi was the undisputed leader of the Indian National Congress, and his philosophy of ahimsa, or non-violence, was its guiding principle. Bose, on the other hand, believed that all means should be used to achieve independence, including seeking foreign help and using force if necessary. This fundamental difference would shape their relationship for years to come. Following Gandhi's advice, Bose went to Calcutta and began working under Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das, a prominent nationalist leader in Bengal. C.R. Das became his political mentor, and Bose quickly proved his mettle as a dedicated and capable worker. He threw himself into the non-cooperation movement with great energy. He was appointed the principal of the newly founded Bengal National College, and also took on the responsibility of managing the nationalist newspaper, Forward. His organizational skills, fiery speeches, and tireless work ethic soon made him a popular figure, especially among the youth of Bengal. His rise within the Congress was swift. He was elected as the president of the All India Youth Congress, where he inspired young men and women to join the freedom struggle with passion and courage. In 1924, when C.R. Das was elected mayor of Calcutta, he appointed Bose as the chief executive officer of the Calcutta Municipal Corporation. In this role, Bose showed his administrative abilities. He brought efficiency and a new work culture to the corporation. He changed the names of streets and parks named after British figures to honor Indian heroes. He worked to improve healthcare, sanitation, and education for the common people, earning their trust and admiration. However, his growing influence and fearless nationalism made him a target for the British authorities. They saw him as a dangerous revolutionary. In 1924, he was arrested on suspicion of being connected with revolutionary movements and was sent to prison in Mandalay, Burma, without any trial. This was the first of his many imprisonments. But jail could not break his spirit. He spent his time reading and writing, further strengthening his resolve. His repeated arrests and unwavering commitment to the cause only increased his popularity among the masses. He became a symbol of defiance against British tyranny. After his release from prison, Subhash Chandra Bose continued his work with renewed vigor. By the late 1920s and 30s, he had emerged as one of the most prominent leaders of the younger, more radical wing of the Indian National Congress. Alongside Jawaharlal Nehru, they both advocated for Purna Swaraj, or complete independence, at a time when many older leaders were still considering dominion status within the British Empire. During a period of ill health, Bose travelled to Europe in the mid-1930s. He used this time not just for recovery, but to build connections and seek international support for India's cause. He met with leaders and thinkers across the continent, trying to present India's case on the world stage. His popularity and dynamic leadership were undeniable. In 1938, he was elected as the president of the Indian National Congress for its session in Haripur. It was a moment of great triumph. As president, he worked to bring a new sense of discipline and planning to the party. He set up a national planning committee to think about how India would develop after independence. He believed in rapid industrialization and a strong modern state. His presidential address was a powerful call for unity and a clear roadmap for achieving freedom. He urged the party to be prepared for the final struggle, which he believed was imminent. However, his bold and assertive approach soon led to ideological clashes with Mahatma Gandhi and the more conservative old guard of the Congress Working Committee. Bose wanted to give the British government a 6-month ultimatum to grant independence, failing which he wanted to launch a massive civil disobedience movement. Gandhi and his followers felt this was too aggressive and that the country was not yet ready for such a step. They preferred a more cautious and negotiated approach. The differences in their ideologies, which had always existed, now came to the forefront, creating a deep rift within the party. The conflict reached its peak in 1939. Despite Gandhi's open opposition, Subhash Chandra Bose decided to stand for re-election as Congress president. He was pitted against Pattabhi Sitaramaiah, who was Gandhi's preferred candidate. In a historic election, Bose won. It was a clear indication of his immense popularity among the party's rank and file. However, Gandhi considered it his personal defeat. The victory proved to be hollow for Bose, as he found it impossible to form a working committee with members who would not cooperate with him. Feeling constrained and realizing he could not implement his radical policies, he resigned from the presidency in April 1939. It was a painful moment, marking his departure from the mainstream Congress path. After resigning from the Congress, Subhash Chandra Bose formed his own political group, the Forward Bloc, to continue his fight for complete independence on his own terms. As World War II broke out in Europe, he saw it as a golden opportunity. He believed in the old saying, "An enemy's enemy is a friend." He wanted to take advantage of Britain's difficulties by aligning with its enemies, the Axis powers, like Germany and Japan. His activities led the British government to place him under house arrest in his Calcutta home in 1940. They wanted to keep this charismatic leader silenced, but they had underestimated his daring and determination. In the dead of night, on January 16, 1941, Subhash Chandra Bose executed one of the most dramatic escapes in modern history. Disguised as a Muslim gentleman named Muhammad Ziauddin, he slipped out of his heavily guarded house. He was driven by his nephew to a car waiting some distance away. From there, he took a train to Peshawar. With the help of his supporters, he crossed the rugged mountains of the northwest frontier into Afghanistan. His journey was filled with danger at every step. After a difficult and anxious wait in Kabul, he finally managed to get travel documents to leave for Europe, eventually reaching Berlin, Germany, in April 1941. In Germany, he tried to persuade the Nazi leadership to support India's cause. He established the Free India Centre and began radio broadcasts to India, urging his countrymen to rise against the British. It was here that the title Netaji, respected leader, was given to him by the Indian soldiers and students in Germany. He also began the formation of the Indian Legion, a military unit comprising Indian prisoners of war captured by the Germans. His goal was to create a professional army that would one day march into India and fight for its freedom. His famous slogan, Jai Hind, victory to India, became the common greeting for all who joined his cause. His focus then shifted to Asia, where Japan was making rapid advances. Believing he could achieve more from a location closer to India, Netaji undertook another perilous journey. In February 1943, he traveled for 90 days in a German submarine and then a Japanese submarine, all the way to Southeast Asia. There, he took over the leadership of the Indian independence movement, which had been started by another revolutionary, Rash Behari Bose. He reorganized and revitalized the Indian National Army, or Azad Hind Fauj, which was mainly composed of Indian soldiers of the British Army who had been captured by the Japanese. With his electrifying leadership, he breathed new life into the INA, preparing them for the final battle. With the formation of the Indian National Army, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose gave a concrete shape to his revolutionary dream. On October 21, 1943 in Singapore, he announced the formation of the Arzi Hukumat-e-Azad Hind, or the Provisional Government of Free India. He was the head of state, prime minister and minister for war. This government was recognized by 9 Axis countries. He created a cabinet, a civil service, and even its own currency and stamps. A particularly revolutionary step was the formation of the Rani of Jhansi Regiment, an all-female combat unit led by Captain Lakshmi Swaminathan. This was a visionary move that demonstrated his belief in the equal role of women in the fight for freedom. Under Netaji's command, the INA adopted the powerful motto of Ittihad, Itmad, Qurbani, unity, faith, sacrifice. His speeches and slogans, like Dilli Chalo, on to Delhi, filled the soldiers with an indomitable spirit. In 1944, the INA, alongside the Japanese army, launched an offensive against British forces. They crossed the border of Burma and advanced into India, planting the Indian tricolour on Indian soil in Moirang, Manipur. This was a moment of immense symbolic importance. For a brief period, a part of India was liberated and administered by the provisional government. The battles of Imphal and Kohima were fiercely fought, but ultimately, the INA had to retreat due to the monsoon, lack of air support, and dwindling supplies. Though the INA's military campaign did not succeed in reaching Delhi, its impact on India was profound. After the war, when the British put the captured INA soldiers on trial at the Red Fort, the entire country rose in their support. The stories of their bravery and sacrifice, and of Netaji's leadership, became legendary. These trials created a massive wave of nationalist sentiment that shook the very foundations of the British Indian Army, the main pillar of British rule. Many historians believe that the INA's actions and the subsequent public reaction convinced the British that they could no longer rely on the loyalty of Indian soldiers to hold on to India. The end of Netaji's own journey is shrouded in mystery. He was reported to have died in a plane crash in Taiwan on August 18, 1945, but many people in India refused to believe it. The mystery surrounding his death has only added to his legendary status. Regardless of the circumstances, his contribution to India's freedom is unique and undeniable. He inspired millions with his unwavering patriotism and his belief in fighting for one's rights. Today, his legacy lives on. The Government of India has declared his birthday, January 23rd, as Parakram Divas, Day of Courage. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose remains an eternal symbol of courage, sacrifice, and an unyielding love for the motherland.